There's a big reason why the Christian New Age thinking doesn't work. This is one such understanding of that, and maybe they may not categorize themselves as such, but there are this thought and a few others that I'll demonstrate to you guys. So in the video where we was talking about the uh, Adam and Eve and who came first, these are some of the comments that come up. And although I appreciate 99% of the comments that do come up, I do appreciate this comment. It reminded me that I've heard this one before actually, that Adam and Eve means atoms, and the Eve gene, speaking of the mitochondrial gene that only the black woman possesses, which gives the black woman the ability to produce children of any color. As other races are concerned, that gene is not present or becomes less and less available. And that atom is ATOMS, meaning atoms, the basic building blocks of our matter universe that as far as we understand it. The problem with these kinds of thoughts is that you would have to assert that the people who wrote this in and around the ninth century, 8th and ninth century, would have known about atoms and mitochondrial DNA. If you don't assert that, then you have to assert that this God wrote a book knowing full well that for millennia after millennia, that no one would understand what the meaning would be, that all those people would have been confused. All those people would have not had a clue as to what it was actually talking about. The thing is, when people wrote this, they wrote it in the literal sense of believing it in that day or the metaphorical sense. But they could not have written it with the metaphor being able to be used in however we decide to use it today because we have advanced in science. That's why this book is written for people back then. It is not written for today. Now, let's look at another. Now, this person goes on some long ass diatribe about how when they talked about the tree of knowledge and that they ate from the tree of knowledge, that it was actually talking about the body of man and all and the tree that dwells within man as far as our biological systems. The overreaching bullshit on this one just astounds me. First, it wasn't the tree of knowledge, it was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which does not, the concepts of good and evil on the pole would not represent our body, our spinal cord, and our limbs, or the tree of man and that sort of thing. I wouldn't even give you guys the punishment of the entire commentary, but it was an incredible reach of trying to make it seem like the people back then knew exactly how our entire bodily system works down to the cellular level when they had no instruments that would have given them that information. Now, sure, some societies back then had dissected bodies. They knew certain organs and they understood the spinal column, things that are easily visible. But to say that they had written a code in the Bible that could only be really understood today is an example of your God not giving two shits about the people who came before the scientific knowledge came so that they can make the connection or the metaphor. Now, you see what I'm saying? This is how it goes. Now this person, I don't have much respect for them, and usually I wouldn't use their comments. But the only reason I don't have much respect for them because they don't know how to have a conversation without trying to throw in some insults. You know, it's kind of small-minded of this Christian person that the only way that they can get their point across or try to make themselves seem more valid is if they throw a little jab in there here, some jabs. But this is another idiotic, and I'm gonna be that way this time, idiotic ass, dumbass thought from this type of mentality to say that Adam and Eve were not created as individual beings initially, but they were a hermaphrodite being. And if they were made in the image of their God, they were made and their God is hermaphrodite as well. Now, he wrote a whole bunch of stuff on Facebook and people were conversating with him. I refused to engage most of the time. But the idea that your God was created as a hermaphrodite, that your God is hermaphrodite, and that he created Adam and Eve as a hermaphrodite, one being, and then separated the two. And in another comment, he talked about how Adam then had to go, he ate the fruit and went and to go save Eve, which is just like Jesus Christ supposed to come and save humanity. And it was an example thereof. Okay, so first, your Bible says that in Genesis chapter 1, verse, I believe, 26, that man and woman were created at the same time, separate, and told to go be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. It clearly says that let us make man in our own image. And he made them. He made them. Not him, not it, not one. He made them, multiple. Both male and female, man and woman. He made two of them. Now, if he had said he just made them, male and female, you might be able to get away with it right there if you just stop. But then it specifies both man and woman, that there were men and women, and then told them to go and get the poom poom and the ping ping so that they can make some more children. That's what the book says. Then in chapter 2, he just made Adam by himself. And then he pulled a rib out of Adam, according to your story. But it really just means from the side of equal side. It's not a literal rib that y'all keep taking it as because you don't understand how the translation was mistranslated, but it's okay. See, the problem here in all of these conversations is that you're taking knowledge that we have today and you're trying to apply it to the book that was written by people who had no idea of the knowledge that we have today. They had no idea of atoms, genes. They didn't know anything about hermaphrodites and have that understanding of, well, they might have known some hermaphrodites. I can't say that, but birth defects do happen. But they didn't know that it was the man's sperm that decided whether it was male or female. They had no idea of those things. They thought women actually, the woman's body actually decided if it was going to be male or female. That's why your boy Henry VIII kept killing all his wives. He thought they was the reason why he couldn't have a son. So stop taking what we know today, our knowledge today, and trying to apply it to your Bible and act like you're reading some code, because those people didn't know it. And if you do, like I said earlier, then your God purposely created a tremendous amount of chaos and let billions of people live and die with the belief in that this stuff was literal in the sense of when they wrote it, at the time frame they wrote it. But each society has always tried to recode into it based on their new knowledge of civilization or their new knowledge of different literature or history and try to make this Bible fit. You're trying to shoehorn this thing in. You got a size 12 foot trying to put on a size 5 shoe. It's just not going to work. So y'all have a great day. Remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.